all-new Dr. Phil, the video that outraged a nation.
What really went on inside the SAE frat house?
Is racism still rampant?
You're going to hear some despicable things.
This is the episode.
My dad refuses to accept my son because he is half black.
Everyone should see.
I told her if she ever got pregnant to one of them apes, I would have to build a monkey cage.
You're going to talk to people like that way?
You look like a Jew. I don't even want to hear from you.
You must protect your child from your father. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
In 5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phil.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was just 9 seconds of video, 9 seconds of self-destruction, 9 seconds of hate and ignorance, dragging us back into some of the darkest days of our country's history. By now, you've probably seen members of the fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon from the University of Oklahoma caught on video spewing a racial chant that alluded to lynching and stated that blacks would not be allowed into their fraternity.
There'll never be there'll never be you may from a tree, but it'll never stop with me. There'll never be
Ironically, the Sigma Alpha Epsilon creed is true gentlemen. 2 students have since been expelled, a decision that President David Boren says speaks to his school's zero-tolerance policy for such threatening, racist behavior. The expulsions come days after the video surfaced. There was even a midnight deadline that SAE members were given to pack their bags and get out of their house. It was only a 9-second clip, but the fallout has been disastrous.
More developments today after a video of an OU fraternity chanting racial slurs surfaced online. This has ignited a firestorm. The race debate is going hot and heavy again.
A fraternity has been shut down after a video surfaced online showing students singing a racist song.
Yeah, the students are heard using the N-word several times and shouting, and we're paraphrasing here, that blacks will never be allowed to join their fraternity.
There is zero tolerance for this kind of racist and bigoted behavior.
To see the video was eye-opening for sure.
Bigotry, cocky, arrogant racism is alive and well. So we got problems.
All of this just days after the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, the Selma to Montgomery March. Now, joining us today are 2 students from Oklahoma University, Isaac and Lester. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, you guys are from my part of the country. I've spent a lot of time on the OU campus, and you guys are students there. You're president of
the Black Student Association on campus.
And tell me what the reaction was when this video came out. What was your reaction when you first heard about it, Lester?
You know, it was shock, you know, just kind of like to see that happen, you know, in 2015. You never really expect that, you know.
And you've got friends that are in SAE, right?
Yeah, I know a couple of people in there.
Right. Are they good guys, bad guys?
I mean, I believe in my heart that the people that I know in there were good guys, yeah.
As you walk around campus there, and as I say, I've been on that campus many, many times, but I don't walk around as a young African-American student there. Mm-hmm. So I have a different viewpoint, I understand. Mm-hmm. Do you feel a racial tension there?
Actually, I have to say I've never really felt racial tension on our campus. But I do want to also make the point that I don't believe this is an isolated incident. It's just that when you're like in a situation where there's no diversity at all, it's just easy to get caught up in peer pressured into certain views and like just do stuff that's just just dumb.
Well, how do you feel about the fact that somebody did record this and put it out there? I mean...
Yeah, I've said this before. I was so encouraged and empowered by that person. They had a lot of guts to do that. And, I mean, I commend that person, whoever they are. They sent it anonymously, but they are an amazing person.
Yeah. You know, I do have to say, I would hate for people to paint the entire University of Oklahoma with the brush of what has been seen by these idiots. Idiots! On that bus. I would hate for them to paint the entire University of Oklahoma with that brush. I would hate for them to paint the university that way. I would hate for them to paint the state that way. Because that's just absolutely not true. I know so many people there that work so hard at creating diversity, and there needs does there need to be more work? Of course there does. Does there need to be diversity training on that campus? Of course there does. And I think President David Boren is just the guy to get that done. I'm so proud that he stepped up and did what he did. And President Boren, good on you for doing what you did, kicking them off campus, shutting that down, and reacting the way that you did. And you know, he did make a statement. He emphasized that there is a zero tolerance for this kind of threatening racist behavior at the University of Oklahoma. And can he do more? Yes.
100%, you know, like his response was swift, and it set an example for other universities across the country, you know, and I think that going forward, I have confidence that they're going to do the right thing.
Well, one of the kids that was really involved in this, Parker Rice, one of the young men, wrote an apology to the Dallas Morning News. The entire apology will be on drphil.com, but here's some portions I thought were important. He says, quote, "I am deeply sorry for what I did Saturday night. It was wrong and reckless. On Monday, I withdrew from the university, and sadly, at this moment, our family is not able to be in our home because of threatening calls as well as frightening talk on social media. I know everyone wants to know why or how this happened. I admit it was likely fueled by alcohol consumed at the house before the bus trip, but that's not an excuse. Yes, the song was taught to us, but that doesn't work as an explanation. It's more important to acknowledge what I did and what I didn't do. I didn't say no. I also completely ignored the core values and ethics I learned from my parents and others. Am also concerned about the fraternity friends still on campus. Apparently they are feeling unsafe, and some have been harassed by others. My goal for the long term is to be a man who has the heart and the courage to reject racism wherever I see or experience in the future. My deepest apologies for what I did." What's y'all's reaction?
I take this time to, like, forgive them, and I hope that we can take this as a time instead of to hate, but to educate each other.
Unfortunately, that wasn't exactly the message that protesters chanted in front of Parker Rice's home in suburban Dallas Wednesday night.
Racism is taught! Racism is taught!
The other boy on the bus has been identified. We'll tell you what his family has to say, plus what really went on inside the SAE frat house and what some of the members are doing now. That's when we come back.
Just hours after I interviewed the house mom at the SAE house, Muton Gilbo, a 2013 video surfaced of her using the N-word several times in a row.
Tomorrow on Dr. Phil. Did their son's girlfriend kill him?
You believe she knew he had overdosed and didn't tell you?
Yes.
Now,
did you kill Chris?
No.
Father.
Did you wait 45 minutes to get us to make sure that he was dead?
Stepmom.
You are lying. Tell the truth.
And girlfriend.
You're psychotic.
Face off.
You take fentanyl, and he died of an overdose of that drug.
How did he get the fentanyl?
That's tomorrow.
It was only a 9-second clip, but the backlash has been disastrous. Party-bound students from the University of Oklahoma fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon were seen by the world on a bus, clapping, pumping their fists, and laughing as they sang a racial chant. The video went viral. 2 students were expelled. and the fraternity was shut down, kicked off campus. Now, Lester and Isaac are two students from the University of Oklahoma, and they say this really doesn't surprise them. Now, also joining us is Dr. Charles Gallagher, professor and chair of the Department of Sociology, Social Work, and Criminal Justice at LaSalle University. Dr. Gallagher, I'm really curious, when you see this happening, what does this say about where we are?
I think that much of white America now believes we have erased the color line. We see a black president, we see a black attorney general, and so we have assumed, I think, that the institutional racism that has defined the United States for so long is no longer with us, but it's there. And I think that racism today is way more subtle. I think it's institutional in ways that often seem race neutral, but have a race effect. So I'm not surprised by this.
These students had to have an expectation that this was okay, because you can't be this stupid. Yeah, you can't know that this is not subject to being...
I would disagree. I have some young teenagers, and they just don't get it. And I think college students are around every day.
You disagree with what? That they could be that stupid?
Yes. I think that they absolutely could be that stupid. I think what's actually more telling is that if you look at how people live out their lives, and we're a very segregated country. My guess is these young men, they're probably not bad kids, but I bet they grew up in a white bubble. Their church is all white. Their social networks are all white. They probably have never had someone of color in their living room to break bread. And when you get around same race groups of friends, things like this become okay.
Well, one of the other students is Levi Petty. Now, he's a championship golfer, and his parents released a statement saying he is a good boy, but what we saw in those videos is disgusting. While it may be difficult for those who only know Levi from the video to understand, we know his heart, and he is not a racist. We raised him to be loving and inclusive, and we all remain surrounded by a diverse, close-knit group of friends. We were as shocked and saddened by this news as anyone. Of course, we are sad for our son, but more importantly, we apologize to the community he has hurt. We would also like to apologize to the entire African American community, University of Oklahoma student body, and administration. Two things stick out. One, they're saying we didn't raise him this way, we taught him differently. And number two, they're speaking and he's not.
Yeah.
Where's the kid?
Yeah.
Why are mommy and daddy talking about it? And you think it was bad enough that these young men on the bus were chanting racial slurs? Take a look at what their 78-year-old house mother was posted up on Vine.
Just hours after I interviewed the house mom at the SAE house, Muton Gilbo, a 2013 video surfaced of her using the N-word several times in a row.
In the short 6-second Vine video, SAE house mom utters the N-word repeatedly as she sings along to a rap song. The video raised eyebrows as it surfaced just minutes after this interview.
There's never any indication that racism was a problem in the house?
Absolutely not. Gilbo said in a written statement, I am heartbroken by the portrayal that I am in some way racist. I have friends of all race and do not tolerate any form of discrimination in my life.
She's 78 years old, so she certainly grew up in a less enlightened time period than we hope we are in today.
So the kind of racism, the Jim Crow racism of yesterday, biological inferiority, kind of religious-based racism, that's kind of gone away. However, people hold deep cultural stereotypes about other groups. And the only way we can start addressing it is if, you know, I'm a social scientist, is by demonstrating to people, you're not a bad person. But the fact is, if you're human, you have bias.
You know, this does create tension. And let me just ask you guys, just straight up, are these SAE students on the University of Oklahoma campus, are they in danger? Are they going to get harassed? Are they going to get run off campus?
I feel like with the way that the internet is set up, they're going to get harassed by people from all over the place.
You know, a lot of people are upset, and they have every right to be upset. But at the same time, you know, we're going to try to try to educate, because it's a long-term project, Yeah. Unfortunately, they're going to face that. They're going to face the consequences of what they said, but at the same time, we want them in the community to be able to learn from us.
Well, I so appreciate you two taking time out of class and being willing to come here. And if you guys are any reflection of the attitudes and all that are prevalent on the University of Oklahoma campus, you have certainly represented well for the Oklahoma Sooners. So thank you guys for being here. Before we move on to the next thing, I want to say to everybody here, just a heads up, you're getting ready to hear some very disturbing things. I had a debate about whether to do this next story or not. And I came down on the side of doing it because I think you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And it makes us all aware that there's still very important work to do. When we come back, we are going to meet a young woman who says she knows about racism firsthand. Her father raised her to hate all kinds of people, and now he hates her own child. We're going to tell you why when we come back.
My dad refuses to accept my son because he is half black. My dad has called my son a critter, a monster, a creature.
The little critter that Peyton has, she wants to call my grandchild, has a 90% potential of being a future rapist.
Well, as you know, we're talking about racism today, and I got a letter from a young woman who says her father is a racist, and she is desperate for my help to get him to accept her biracial son. Now, this is a tricky one because her dad is David Wayne Hull, and he is known as the Imperial Wizard with the KKK, who says his daughter Peyton should only have relationships within her race. Take a look.
My dad has called my son a critter, a monster, a creature. He told me I was growing an ape inside of my body. My dad refuses to accept my son because he is half black. I can't expect him to change, but he doesn't have to treat my son like he's an animal. My dad has never met my son. I want him to acknowledge that he has a grandchild. Looking back, I didn't have a normal childhood. My father was part of the White Knights. It's the most violent, hateful part of the Klan. He'd say, white power, hail Hitler. He'd throw his Nazi symbols up, and I didn't understand. My dad believes that the white man is the superior race. He just loves that he's a terrorist. He thinks it's great. My dad would give any man a shirt off of his back. It would just have to be a white man. My dad went to prison. They said he was making bombs to blow up abortion clinics. He found out I was pregnant with a biracial baby and told me to abort it. The worst thing he did to me was turn his back on me and my child. I felt abandoned. I felt so alone and not just crying. I'm just let down by him, really.
Well, in 2003, Peyton's father, David, was sentenced to 12 years in prison for several crimes, including possession, manufacturing, transferring, and demonstrating an explosive device, tampering with a witness, possession of a silencer, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He served 9 years. When he was released, he was shocked to find that Peyton, in his words, had betrayed him.
I'm willing to die for the Klan. People use the term racist like it's some kind of dirty word. I think we should reject the term white because it just is a color. It is not a race. Aryan is a term that I embrace. I taught my daughter Peyton racial pride. I told her she was never, ever to become involved with a black man. No one would have ever thought that she would have grown up to be a ghetto thug. The little critter that Peyton has, she wants to call my grandchild, has a 90% potential of being a future rapist, a thief, and just another lazy dredge on society. One drop of non-white blood, it ceases to be human, and since it's not human, it is not my grandchild. This thing here, it's not a mistake, it just goes away. She had a kid to a black man. I will love my daughter till the day I die, but I will never accept that child.
Peyton, that obviously is hurtful to hear, right?
Yeah.
Do you try to reason with him about it?
He's not easy to reason with. He has a reason for everything.
He cites scripture. He
Yes.
cites philosophy. He believes he is 100% right.
Yes.
And, you know, growing up, you were a daddy's girl, right?
Yes.
You loved him. He was a good
Very
father
much.
to you.
Yes.
But you started seeing unusual things in your childhood, right?
Yes.
You have early memories of actually seeing burning crosses.
Yes. All I knew of the cross burnings was to be, I just thought it was pretty, you know, like a big candle or something. I didn't understand the
symbolism.
The symbolism, yeah.
You didn't know what it meant.
No.
And there was a picture of Hitler hanging over you.
On our fireplace mantle.
Did you know who it was?
My dad talked really greatly about Hitler, so I just thought maybe he was like another president.
Yeah. So you, as a child, you don't know. It's just a picture of someone that's revered.
Yes.
Well, David is on probation, and he's not allowed to travel. And so he's going to join us by satellite. David, you understand that Peyton is here because she is frustrated, that you are frustrated that she has a biracial child. And she is in hopes that you guys can find some way to close the gap on that and not have that be a divide between the two of you.
I love my daughter. I love my daughter with all my heart. But the thing is, I cannot go against my moral and religious beliefs and accept her child. Peyton will always be my daughter. I would do anything for her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. But the one thing I will not do for anybody is sell my soul. And whether you agree with me, whether you think it's wrong, I have my beliefs and I cannot go against them.
Coming up, David says he feels betrayed by Peyton. He says he taught her to be proud of her race and now says she did the worst possible thing a daughter could do to her father.
No good has come out of Peyton hanging with these black thugs, and no good will ever come out of it.
Did you say to her when she was pregnant the first time that she had an ape growing inside her?
That was basically my feelings, but I don't remember saying that to her.
Did you say that you should build a monkey cage in the front yard so the critter could stay in the monkey cage?
I told her if she ever got pregnant to one of them apes, I wouldn't have nothing to do with it. I told her, you can still come see me, but I would have to build a monkey cage in the backyard for the kid. How she ended up telling me that she was pregnant to a black was she told me, Dad, you're going to have to build that monkey cage.
Did you say when she had a miscarriage that she lost the first one, that as bad as it sounds, it'd just be okay if this one died too?
They can't even match the music. They can't even rap, they're just black producing. Now they wanna crack the new shit. They just wanna act, they then bath the new kids. They can't even match the music. They can't even rap, they're just black producing. They just wanna crack the new shit. They just wanna act, they then bath the new kids. Sorry big man, with your big life and your kick man. Sorry big man, with your big life and your whip man. Sorry.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It would have been a relief to me. If the kid is truly biracial, she would be a lot better off without it tagging along. The only way she can have any kind of normal life and get with a good white man as if they don't know her history.
You say she's not really attracted to African Americans. That couldn't be, because it would be like being attracted to a possum. I didn't understand that.
Look at the girl sitting beside you. She is beautiful. She is bright. No good has come out of Peyton hanging with these black thugs, and no good will ever come out of it. I've told her that, I've told her that, and I've told her that. She's a white girl born into a white world, and she could have it made.
Okay, and you're saying that this child, if this child is biracial, it's just going to grow up to what?
Statistics say that the kid is likely to be a problem.
Well, you were in prison.
If the kid is even his. Yes, I was in prison. I was in prison, and I've never abused my kids. I've never been a drug addict slinging dope on the streets. Yes, I've been in prison. A lot of good people are in prison these days.
You say you haven't abused your children. Your daughter's been to juvie 11 times because you were in prison her entire childhood. How is that not making a choice that's abusive to your daughter?
You're right. Peyton did go bad because I went to prison, because I wasn't there to guide her and give her discipline. Want to blame it on me? If that makes you all feel good, then go ahead and do it.
Have you said, you know, we're all paying a lot of attention right now to ISIS. Did I understand you to say that basically they're killing Jews, and as long as that's what they're doing, you got no issues?
Yeah, I got no issue. I got no issue with ISIS. They start bombing Germany, Sweden, or England tomorrow, well, then I'll have a problem with them.
Well, let's just take a look at what you had to say about the Jews.
I have much more respect for a black man than a Jew. The Jew, he's the bottom of the barrel. Slavery is always blamed on the white man. It's blamed for foolishness. Jews have a long history of dealing in the slave trade. You go back and you review on who owned all of the big slave ships, and it was Jews. Hitler, the most evil villain on earth. It's a joke. He loved his people. He gave them the Autobahn, many architectural structures. He brought his people out of a depression, and he also brought America out of her depression.
Did you say you really don't believe that there were millions of Jews killed? The Holocaust just didn't happen?
Even the Wiesenthal folks these days, to people that they consider their supporters, even tell their supporters, lay off the 6 million figure because it's too easy to disprove. Makes us look foolish.
Okay. We're going to take a break. David's new wife is here. We're going to find out how she feels about Peyton's baby. We'll be right back. Do you have a story that you think I absolutely won't believe? Okay. If you think your family belongs on my show, if you even think that, you're probably right. So go to drphil.com and tell me why.
My new wife, Krista, and I have been married for 3 years. I think I can safely say that Krista feels that I'm a good man.
My husband's a great father. He's a great man. He does all he can for anyone.
She keeps me balanced. She keeps me in check, and everything runs along good that way. I would be lost without Krista.
3 years ago, David married Krista. When Peyton found out, she says she was upset because her father didn't ask her permission. Now David is taking care of Krista's 4 children and won't accept Peyton's biracial child. Take a look.
Peyton is quite jealous of my wife and resentful of my stepchildren.
She has like 5 kids. They all live with my dad. I don't like that. They can have their own dads. They don't need to be calling my dad. That's not okay.
It's as if she has some kind of idea in her head that I abandoned her for them, and that's not the truth.
My kids aren't standing in the way of her having a relationship with him. I think Peyton's choices are what stands in her way.
I know it's wrong to be jealous, but I am, because it's not fair.
Well, Krista, you've been married for 3 years?
Going on 3 years, yes.
Okay, and did you know that he was the imperial wizard of the white knights of the KKK?
When I first met him, he was not. I knew he was in the Klan, but he actually wasn't the Imperial Wizard. We had dated a while ago.
When did you first meet him?
In 2000.
That's funny. Oh, okay. I didn't meet her till after he got out of prison, and they were already married.
No, actually, when you were a child, I played with you at the house. You were probably
there were so many of y'all. I'm sorry.
Yes, there was. He won't deny that either, and neither will I.
Deny what?
But there were a lot of women, that he went through a lot of women.
He was married and divorced in prison, and the first time I saw him after he got out of prison, he was remarried to her.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I the only one who sees anything wrong with that?
Actually, that doesn't even make my top 1,000 problems.
That is crazy, Phil.
But my question is, you know he's a member of the Klan. You know that he's basically told you how he feels about blacks and Jews and anyone that's non-Aryan, as he says. You're okay with all that?
I love him. That's my husband, and I love him as a person. And yeah, I accept him for who he is.
He's basically a hate monger. He hates these people. He told us you were a psychologist.
I have a degree in psychology.
He said you were a PhD psychologist.
No. I did. He had the letters wrong, and I did tell the producers that it's not.
If one of your children turns out gay, grows up and is gay, where are you then?
I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, you better hope it doesn't happen, because here's what David says about gays.
Homosexuality up until the 70s was considered a psychiatric illness. It is still an illness. It is a sickness. If left unchecked, it will lead to the downfall of our country. It'll lead to the downfall of our world. Gay marriage is a joke. Marriage was made for Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. That's all there was to it. This new thing now they want us to accept is transgender. Well, he was born a man, but he's really a woman. No. Check out your plumbing parts. If you were born a man, you are a man. Act like it. If you were born a woman, you are a woman. Act like it.
Okay, so David, you just feel there's just no wiggle room here at all. You have no tolerance for the gay, lesbian, transgender community at all.
No, not at all. But the Bible is quite clear about what it says about if a man lays with a man the way he would a woman, then he should surely be put to death. That's pretty clear. I didn't write the book. I live by it the best I can.
Coming up, why David says racism has done us well for many centuries. Is he hiding behind Scripture and twisting the Bible for his own hatred? I'll tell him what I think when we come back. Are you telling me he's not allowed to be a pastor because he's an animal? Is that what you said?
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. Did you know that more than 16 million kids in the U.S. are at risk of hunger each day? Join me and visit feedingamerica.org/hunger to find your local food bank to help. I'm Dr. Phil, and together, we are Feeding America.
I didn't write the Bible. I live by it. The Bible says that a woman who lays down with a beast, she should be put to death. And when some people say, oh, that means a dog or a cow or a horse, let's not be ridiculous. God thought we had enough good sense not to have sex with a dog. It's talking about any race other than your own. I have no respect for man's law. It's God's law and moral law that I have respect for.
I actually have some religious experts here. Dr. Jonathan Rothschild is professor and chairman of theological studies at Loyola Marymount University, and senior pastor Michael Kelly is here. Here's one of your quotes about what you say about what your daughter did. If a woman lays down with a beast, both she and the beast should surely be put to death. But what the Bible actually says is in Leviticus 20:16, if a woman approaches an animal to have sexual relations with it, kill both the woman and the animal. They are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. And you use that to talk about what your daughter has done. I mean, are you equating your daughter having a biracial child with her laying down with a beast? Is that what you're saying, David?
She lay down with the beast, and believe me, that guy was a beast in every way. What are you going to do, Dr. Phil? You going to defend him now?
Dr. Rothschild, what?
He is a beast.
What do you say to that, Dr. Rothschild?
Dr. Phil, one of the major themes in the Bible comes in Genesis 1, the idea everybody's created in the image and likeness of God. We all have inherent dignity and worth. And to suggest that certain features of humanity don't constitute that Imago Dei seems to place restrictions on God. So I think the idea that motivates you to be against abortion, you believe everything, every human life is worthwhile, has value. That's part of the reflection of the Imago Dei. Why can that not be applied to your own grandson?
I am against abortion of humans. Hey, why don't we really seriously focus on the real thing? What has caused Peyton all these problems?
You are her father. You are her parent. Children learn what they live. Right. You made decisions that landed you absent in her life.
International. Girl, what's your name? I have to know. Ain't no one else in your lane. Let's fill this car with gas and go. No hesitation, I'm on it. If that's the way that you want it, that's cool with me, so let's ride. Let's go somewhere that you lie.
From a very young age through the formative years where she felt abandoned and turned to rebellion, are you telling me that you absolve yourself of any responsibility in who your daughter has become? Is that what you're asking me? Do I blame you for that? Do I lay that at your feet? Yes, sir, I most certainly do. I lay that at your feet. I lay that at her mother's feet.
Phil.
I most certainly do. Please.
I guess there are 2 points I'd like Dave to maybe think about. One is you've used the word love so many times today, but I'm a little confused about
oh, man, you look like a Jew. I don't even want to hear from you. That big Jew nose, them beady eyes, I don't even want to hear from you, man.
My name is Charles Andrew Michael Gallagher. I'm a Roman Catholic, and I was baptized.
Oh, there you go. You're a Roman Catholic. That means you're a pagan.
I reject your anti-Semitism. You know what? For all intents and purposes, I am Jewish. If you're going to talk to people like that way, I am Jewish because they're my brothers too. They're my sisters too. Okay.
They're your brothers right there. That shows you and those Christians.
Pastor, what would you like to say about this?
What makes that even more dangerous is when you grow up in an environment like that and then you use spirituality to justify. Some of the greatest travesties in history have been people who have taken the scriptures and perverted them to be able to go into murdering people, to be able to justify racism, slavery, all those different kinds of things.
You're not allowed to be a
and so when you take how you've been socialized,
nothing but an animal.
And see,
you're interrupting.
Come up here if you would. Come up here if you would. Are you telling me? Are you telling me that he's not allowed to be a preacher? Are you telling me he's not allowed to be a pastor because he's an animal? Is that what you said?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. When we come back, my thoughts on Peyton and David's relationship. We'll be right back. I so disagree with your beliefs, David. I do.
And I'm a freedom fighter. I think you have the right to disagree with my beliefs, but I have the right to believe them.
You do have the right to your beliefs, as despicable as I find them. And I don't think the fact that he has those beliefs means that he doesn't love you. But I'm telling you that love without respect is hollow. And your father to your child is a toxic, hateful element. And you must protect your child from your father. You must make certain that that man is not allowed to get around that child and erode that child's self-worth and self-esteem and treat him as a second-class citizen. Treat him as an animal. Treat him as something that is subhuman. Treat him in a way that he questions his value and his worth as a human being.
Phil, worries about that because I will not be around that child.
How could he claim her, but he can't claim my son?
Listen, that is a whole different issue.
What does my wife have to do with me claiming some little toad?
I hate that you seem to take pride in spewing out hateful things like calling this child a toad to your daughter. You know, that's unbecoming to you, whatever you may believe. That's just absolutely unnecessary. You may believe what you believe, but
I love my daughter. I don't know that creature or anything.
But that is ridiculous for you to behave that way, and I think you will agree that I think you will agree that in all of our interactions, me with you and you with my entire team here, we have treated you with dignity and respect the entire way, correct?
You told my wife that you wouldn't have her face-to-face with Peyton on the stage.
That commitment was certainly not made by me, and I am very proud of the way that you have been treated here. I make no apologies for it. This is my team right here. They worked very, very hard with you, and I think they have treated you with dignity and respect the entire way, and if you say otherwise, I think you just simply are not being honest. I think they have worked very hard with you. We have here 2 Jews, an African American, and a gay Hispanic, and I think they've worked very, very hard with you. On drphil.com, I have tests to see if racism is a part of your life more than you care to admit. Check it out now to see how you do. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Charles Gallagher. Look for his new book, Colorblind Nation, The Denial of Racism and the Rise of Racial Inequality. Also thanks to Pastor Michael Kelly and Dr. Jonathan Rothschild, and thanks to Oklahoma University students Isaac and Lester. Join in on the discussion on my Facebook and Twitter pages. Use hashtag #DrPhil and hashtag #LookingForAcceptance. Thank you for being here today. So long.